In the ongoing conflict between Israel and the United States against Iran, there have been several precise attacks on the Iranian nuclear program, especially against uranium enrichment complexes like Natanz. However, both Israel and the United States have kept the Bushehr nuclear power plant, located in southern Iran on the edge of the Persian Gulf, completely off the target list. This decision was not due to a lack of military capability, but because of a clear strategic calculation to avoid a radiological catastrophe of regional proportions. The main concerns of the international community do not revolve around the loss of Terra's enrichment capability. The focus is almost exclusively on the radiological side effects. An attack on a nuclear reactor in operation can cause a leak of radioactive materials capable of affecting civilian populations hundreds of kilometers away. The memories of Chernobyl in 1986 and Fukushima in 2011, the two worst nuclear accidents in history, still loom large. Each disaster caused dozens of direct deaths and is expected to result in thousands of cancer deaths over time, in addition to making large areas uninhabitable for decades or even centuries. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed that Israel did not hit the Bushehr reactor during this year's battles. This facility generates electricity for the Iranian grid using enriched uranium and a controlled, sustained nuclear fission process. It is essential to understand the technical distinction between the types of facilities. Enrichment facilities like Natanz use thousands of high-speed centrifuges to increase the concentration of uranium-235 in uranium hexafluoride gas. It is a purely mechanical and physical process. There is no active nuclear chain reaction. On the other hand, the Bushehr nuclear plant is an operational reactor where a self-sustaining chain reaction occurs. Enriched uranium is used as fuel to generate heat and electricity at the same time. The American and Israeli strategy in this year's attacks focused exclusively on enrichment complexes and storage of enriched uranium. In Natanz, the centrifuges were severely damaged or completely destroyed, and the underground bunker likely suffered direct and irreversible impacts. According to the director of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Mariano Grossi, the facility was severely damaged, if not completely destroyed. However, radiation readings in the region remained unchanged, which is a positive sign. In contrast, attacks on an active reactor such as Bushehr could trigger what scientists call a meltdown, a massive release of radioactive material and possible large-scale contamination in the Persian Gulf, as happened in Fukushima. Israel has already demonstrated in the past that it avoids attacking reactors in operation. Both the Osirak reactor in Iraq in 1981 and the Al-Kibar facility in Syria in 2007, which were destroyed before they went into operation, when there was still no active core or sustained fission reaction. An attack on the Bushehr plant would not only be a military blow against Iran, it would be a regional environmental catastrophe that would directly affect Gulf Arab countries, especially Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman, polluting the sea and the coastline. This would turn an operation to contain Iran's nuclear program into a global humanitarian disaster, causing Israel and its allies to immediately lose international support. Important allies understand and support a surgical action against Iran's nuclear program, but they would never support an attack that causes large-scale radioactive contamination. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz summed up this position well by stating that this is the dirty work Israel is doing for all of us, against a regime that has brought death and destruction to the world. Merz also made it clear that the complete destruction of Iran's nuclear program would require much deeper direct involvement from the United States, something Israel could not achieve on its own. Both Israel and the United States apply the same reasoning. Attacking enrichment facilities, such as in Transfordo, is feasible and carries low radiological risk. Attacking an operational nuclear reactor, such as Bushehr, is unacceptable due to environmental, humanitarian, and diplomatic risks. Iran itself has also considered this issue and has not directly attacked Israeli nuclear plants. This is the reason why, even with all the American military capability, including deep penetration bunker buster bombs, the Bushehr nuclear plant has never been targeted and probably never will be. As long as it remains an active civilian power plant, at the very first moment of a precise attack, hours to a few days after a radioactive leak in Bushehr, Iran would be the most affected locally, especially in Bushehr province on the southern coast, where immediate evacuation would be necessary due to direct contamination of air and soil. Because of the prevailing northwesterly winds called the Shamal, the radioactive plume would quickly cross the Persian Gulf and reach the countries on the Arab shore within a few hours, or at most 24 hours. The most impacted would be the United Arab Emirates, especially Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Qatar, where Doha could be left without drinking water in just 3 days, since it depends almost entirely on desalination. Bahrain, the eastern province of Saudi Arabia, like Dammam, Dhahran, and Dammam.
Dhahran e Dubai.
And, of course, very close to the epicenter, the country of Kuwait. To the relief of the region, the war is coming to an end. The official signing of the Memorandum of Understanding for Peace is scheduled for Friday in Switzerland, but the ceasefire comes into effect at this moment. This development ends more than 3 months of direct conflict between the United States and Iran, which began on February 28th. The negotiations that led to the current agreement were long and difficult. Pakistan acted as the main mediator with support from other regional actors. There were previous attempts at a ceasefire, including in April, but they collapsed. The agreement represents operational relief for the U.S. Navy. Maintaining a sustained blockade over such a large area requires constant resources of ships, patrol aircraft, and boarding teams. With the end of hostilities, these assets can then be redeployed. The United States and Israel did not attack Bushehr because the environmental, humanitarian, and diplomatic cost of radioactive leakage in the Persian Gulf would be disproportionate and counterproductive. The strategy has always been clear: to destroy the capabilities of a possible Iranian nuclear weapon without creating a new Chernobyl in the heart of the Middle East. It is always an honor to bring analysis and exclusive content to you. I always provide content about
Exclusivos para vocês.
evil, a war against our humanity, translating its
.com